Good morning, all. Rohini ma'am, shall we start? Ma'am?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Shall we
Yeah.
start?
Yeah.
Let me introduce you, ma'am. After that, you can start, ma'am. It's a great privilege to introduce Dr. Rohini P, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at IIIT Kanchipuram, an institute of national importance. Dr. Rohini holds a PhD in biomedical engineering from IIT Madras, where her research focused on neuroimaging and early detection of Alzheimer's disease using image processing and machine learning. She also completed a postdoctoral fellowship at IIT Madras, further advancing her work in medical imaging. Currently, she leads the Translational Health Research and Innovation Lab at IIIT DM, focusing on wearable devices, biosignal processing, and AI-driven solutions for clinical diagnostics. We are honored to have her with us today to share her expertise in the field of healthcare technologies. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And I would also extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Lakshmi for inviting me here, and also to all the other members of the Madishankara Institute of Engineering and Technology. So I would share my screen just a moment. I think it's visible now.
Yes, ma'am. We can see the screen.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, can you a little more louder? It's your voice is not.
Is it fine now?
Yeah.
Is it fine? Okay. 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 So thank you very much for inviting me here, for having me in this workshop. And I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Lakshmi for having invited me here. And I will be delivering a talk on wearable devices for healthcare technology. And we will be looking at an overview of what kind of wearable devices are available in the market and how we are actually interested in designing these devices and how they are important in this particular field. So these are the things that we will be looking at today. Just a moment. Okay. So starting with wearable devices. So what are wearable devices? What is a wearable technology? Any technology that or any category of electronic devices, if it can be worn as an accessory or it can be embedded in clothing. So that these devices are called to be as wearable devices. If you can imagine, I have some devices. I have a watch. So watch is a wearable device. So in such a way that when we have the technology along with us, when we can carry technology or electronics along with us, then we call them to be as wearable technology. Okay. Primarily, why do we use this wearable technology? We can see that by having these technologies, we can actually support or we can improve the livelihood of our health, and we can also enhance daily activities. We can also have very good tracking of our health. So there are many advantages of having this wearable technology along with us. So what is the kind of wearable technology that we are interested in? Primarily, most of the cases, we will be more interested towards having some advancements in healthcare, right? Because we are worried about our health, we are more interested towards our health. Now, what are the layers, or what are the how can a wearable device can be divided into? So we can have multiple layers in a wearable device. The primary layer is called to be as a sensing layer, where most of the research is concentrated on. We are mostly working on these kind of layers where we try to understand how to extract the information from our body. Okay, so sensing layer. Then the second one is a network layer. A network layer consists of some communication protocols. In the sense, like we have Bluetooth, we have wireless communications, we have LAN. There are different kinds of protocols that can be modulated for wireless communication. So we have a network layer. So here also we have much research that is going on in the field. And we also have another layer which is called to be as a data processing or storage layer, right? So what is a data processing or storage layer? We have, okay, we've collected data.
Service is available from multilateral companies.
So we have some kind of data processing that is already available, but we can also have other analysis techniques or analysis algorithms that can be embedded along with the sensing layer, right? So once we collect the data, we need to understand what can be done on this particular data, what is to be done, and what can be extracted, meaningful information that can be extracted from this data. So all these things require some kind of algorithm and some kind of processing unit that is required. And the other layer is called to be as a service layer, which is nothing but whenever we have these kind of wearable technology, it is of no use until and unless it provides some meaningful information and it can help and modify our life, right? So if I send some kind of abnormality, so it should be immediately be recorded, and it should be immediately be transmitted to the appropriate person so that care can be given to that particular human. So we have these kind of layers, and also if you can see, research is also divided into all these things. Now, if I talk about sensing layers, development of multiple sensors or multiple technologies, principles. So there are many subdivisions in this sensing layer where research is concentrated on. And if you can talk about network layer, we have different communication devices establishing, even in the chip level, how to minimize the error rate in the transmissions and the other protocols. So how to extract new information, what kind of information can be extracted from the sensing sensor. So all these things can be designed in the network layer, and we can have a dedicated processing unit for this network layer. And similar to that, we have data processing and storage layer. We have multiple techniques, technologies, and multiple papers. If you can see, you can have thousands of papers in one day publishing just based on data processing, right? Because we have so much of data, but we don't know how to extract information from that data. So that is also a major concern. And the next layer is service layer. So we have much importance to this service layer. But if you can see how the connectivity is done, so we will be also talking about that in this particular presentation. And service layer mainly incorporates, we can think about IoT devices. So if you can talk about IoT devices, how it can connect and it can deliver the data and information to the correct caregiver or to the family, and how they can improve the efficiency of these particular devices. So all these things are interconnected, and all these things are important in the wearable technology. Okay, so going towards wearables. So whenever we start any research, so this is the first thing that we are supposed to do. So we are supposed to understand what is the market share. So if I do a research on this, if I understand and if I take up this research, will it be helpful in commercializing it, in technological transfer? Will it be helpful for the society? So all these things are the primary understanding that we are supposed to do whenever we start a research. So let us talk about wearables as such. So if we see the market share of wearables, a global market share. So global market in the sense, if I talk about the entire world, how the demand for wearables is, how much is the if I am doing a research now, will I be able to commercialize it? So if we see the trend of the market share in a global level, you can see as we are from 2016 to 2026, across a decade, if you see, there is always a growth in the market, right? So even though the growth is much higher between 2018 to 2024, still you can see there are many products that are coming up in the market, and we are using many of them. So recently, you can see there was a high demand for digital watches, right? Why? Because it had done more than it is required to. Meaning, a watch is basically the functionality of a watch is what basically looking for or denoting time, but a digital watch can do more than that. So the demand also increased. So many people are actually buying that, right? So based on this, if we can introduce a wearable that can actually do much more than its own functionality, then people will be interested in it if there is a requirement for that. So, and also, if you see the Indian market share, we can also look at a very high percentage of Indian market share for wearable devices, and majority of it is actually occupied by both. So this is 2022 data, but still, this is the same trend even today also. Okay. And what about global sales? If I talk about global sales across the different kinds of wearable products, so we can see that there are much importance or much interest towards smartwatches, because that we also see here how many of us are having smartwatch right now. So it is actually increasing day by day, right? So we can see that the sales of the smartwatches are also increased, and other types of wearable products are also in the market, but to not of a much extent, but because it is still in the it is not still commercialized yet, we will be looking at all those things. Okay. And how Indian sales are going towards the wearable products, it is obviously it is increasing. There is a good percentage of increase in the wearable product sales in India also from 2019 to 2024, if we look at. So what are how these wearables got evolved? So if we look at wearables, you can see these wearables are we talk about wearables nowadays like in a very important way, right? Like, but these wearables are there in the market from around 1200. You can see the glasses were invented in 1200. So from that time on, so glasses is a wearable. We are wearing it. The functionality of a glass is to have correct the vision, right? But you can see how it had got evolved. Right now, in 2013, we have got something called as Google glasses, right? So it is not very famous in the market. Not many of us are having because of its cost, but still it is available. So and as we look at the evolution, that is, as we start from glasses, we have pocket watches, we have abacus rings. So you can see how we are going towards the towards more and more improvement in technology. So we have VR goggles, we have wristbands that are smart enough to identify how many steps we are walking. So there are many advancements that have been done on wearables that, but it all started from 1200 BC. So you can see that we are having a very nice evolution of wearables, and even still we are actually evolving. We started using these technology only recently because of the introduction of IoT and other platforms, data processing units, and other miniaturization of wearables have been done. So because of that only, it is actually more prevalent nowadays. But still, you can see that there are different differences that have happened between the starting point and the end point. Okay, let us focus more towards a particular topic called as wearable devices for heart monitoring, or I can more specifically say that heart rate monitoring. Okay, because heart monitoring can happen with different kind of devices. I can monitor my heart conditions using different kinds of devices, but we are more interested towards heart rate. Why we are interested towards heart rate? Because there are many research advances that have been done on heart rate, and we can see that this particular parameter is important in doing, I mean, identifying many disease conditions and identifying many So particularly if I talk about heart rate variability, so this is one particular topic which is of interest for many researchers, because the variability in heart rate is linked to most of the disease condition. And even the if we can talk about stress. Okay, so what is stress? So every day we experience stress. So whenever we are experiencing stress, we have a variation in the heart rate. So heart rate variability as a parameter to monitor this stress levels is also actually done. So you can see there are many different many different applications that are available towards this particular area. But if you can start with 1816, you can see that the stethoscope was invented, and this was the first stethoscope that was used. Though it is not a wearable device, but rather it is actually a portable device that was used. And as we move forward, we had pacemakers developed, implantable pacemakers. We have, so you can see stethoscope being developed, the modern stethoscope. So how pacemakers also had evolved. So finally, if you can see right now, we can measure our heart rate just by using our mobile phones, or by using our digital watches, right? So we can continuously monitor our heart rate by using our digital watches. So but now, what is the problem that is associated with these? We will just see in a bit. We will just go step by step. The problems, we will talk about the problems of wearables. We will talk about the advancements that are being done on wearables. So we will talk about each one in detail. But before that, we will also see where this wearable can be utilized in heart monitoring. Okay, so we were talking about heart rate, right? So when I'm interested in heart rate, I am mostly interested in my electrophysiology. What do we mean by electrophysiology? Um, the potential differences that are being sent out by my heart is where I can find different differences, and it is where I can find what is a problem, abnormalities that are associated with these electrophysiology. So you can see electrophysiology is important. And heart. So the next thing is, I am mostly interested in when there is a heart failure, right? So why people use digital watches or to monitor heart rate? One is to understand their body condition, right? Good. But the second thing is, when there is a heart failure, I need to act immediately. I need to have a quick response so that I can save that person. So this is where it comes into a more critical point of view, where the more importance is given towards the how it can be modified to understand the conditions of heart failure and other things. Okay. And the third thing why we are interested in wearable device for heart monitoring is it is non-invasive. I don't have to cut open the body, put something inside it. I don't have to do all these things. Okay. So in an electrophysiological perspective, you can see there are many different kinds of devices that can be used. So you can see patch sensors, that these are patches that can be placed onto your heart muscle. Okay, externally, I'm not talking about invasive techniques. Externally on your chest, you can place these patch sensors, and it can measure your ECG. It can continuously record your ECG. So this is one kind of a device that people can use for monitoring their electrocardiographic, and can give certain kind of diagnosis from ECG recordings. And so based on that, you have different kinds of patches that are available. Okay. And when we talk about heart failure, we have different techniques called as MEMS-based technique. We have these are all kind of wearable devices, but some are invasive in nature, some are not invasive in nature. Okay. So these MEMS devices are placed inside the vessels. Okay, so they are invasive in nature in such. But there is a heart failure monitoring system, but by Zoll, which is developed. It's a 24 hours monitor, a continuous monitoring system that can be placed on the body, and you can measure that. So these kind of systems are available. And also the other part of the other subdivision is, I want it to be non-invasive. So we have something called a spandex or spandan ECG. It is developed by Sunfox Instruments. So you can see these kind of wearable. I'll not talk it to be as wearable, but it is a portable device. That's it. But you can monitor your ECG from in your mobile itself. So these kind of technologies have been developed, and we have been talking about these watches, Fitbit, and other things. So they are all non-invasive in nature. Okay, so we have different kinds of sensors, smart bracelets, we have phone attachments, we have from Cardia. So we have different kinds of devices that are particularly important for ECG. If we can talk about ECG alone or heart rate alone, you have specific equipments or specific devices that are more interested or more concentrated towards a particular technique or particular disease condition. Okay, so if I talk about heart failure, I can say that there is a heart failure monitoring system that is available. If you talk about, I want to know about instantaneous blood pressure measurement, I have a system that is in place for which I can measure, with which I can measure the blood pressure. Continuously, you can monitor blood pressure. So for every technology or for every condition that we are interested in, so we do have a particular device that is important for these for monitoring this. Okay, so let's go into detail. Like we are starting from top, we are going as a top-down approach. Okay, so let us go in detail about what kind of wearable technology is available. It starts from smartwatch. You name it, you name a body part, you can have a device out of it. Okay, so you can see from starting from smart glasses, we have smart watches, we have smart shirts. There are different smart shoes, smart socks. We have smart belt. We have rings, fingers. There are, you name it, you have a body part associated with it, and you have a wearable device that is being in market. But what is the limitations? When we talk about wearable devices, we need to also explore the limitations. So that's where research starts, right? So we are more interested towards what kind of limitations are there in the existing wearable devices. Okay, so starting with security. Okay, you can see most of the devices are connected with a particular technology, like for example, wireless technology, or it records. So what is the privacy of my health records? What is the security of my data? So that is a question that we generally ask. So you see whatever is being, you download an app. Yeah, call terms and conditions, right? It shows there are several terms and conditions that we generally accept. So what is the security that I am having for my particular data? This is one big question. Okay, this is one limitation. The second one is battery life. You can see that whenever you are using a wearable, so you need a power for that particular wearable to function. So what is the battery life that we are looking at right now? If you can see our wearable watches, we can sustain for about smartwatch can be sustained for about a week or so, right? So as the battery life becomes more and more critical, as the technology evolves, the battery life also become more and more critical, because if you are increasing the functionality, like for example, I am continuously connecting my watch to the mobile, it is continuously tracking my data, then the battery life will be very important, because I may not sustain the battery for a longer period of time. So now this becomes also important. And when we talk about more serious applications like heart rate monitoring system, pacemakers, okay, so in these cases, the battery life proves to be very, very important. Now, if I am talking about a pacemaker, it's a wearable, right? So I am actually doing a minor surgery and I'm placing the pacemaker inside the heart muscle. Okay, so in that condition, I cannot do a surgery again and again just because of battery life. So battery life proves to be very important whenever we talk about that particular application, because we put the patient at risk for different kinds of infections and other things when we do that particular surgery. So in that critical situations, it is very essential to So still research is going on to improve the battery life. Right now we have 10 years of battery life, but still, if a person starts early enough to have a pacemaker, that is in his early 40s or something, then he needs to undergo an operation twice or thrice along his lifetime, considering an average lifetime to be a 70 or 80 years. Okay, so he needs to undergo an operation again to replace this particular pacemaker, right? So that is very important. This is one. The next one is standards. So what kind of standards are we talking about for data collection, transfer, storage, all those things? So that is also important. So when we talk about standards, we are talking about the ethics also involved along with it, right? What kind of, how can I utilize this data only for research and not for other commercial purposes? So that is also important. That is also being not being properly established till now because it's coming out in the market. And affordability. Okay, so we talked about smartwatches. Smartwatches are affordable, well enough. But other cases, there are many other wearables which are in the market which are really not affordable. So as we increase the functionality of a wearable, obviously the affordability also goes down. Okay, but still, it is also the number of units sold, and there are many different things that are being associated with affordability, right? Cost can obviously come down, but it can come down only when it is actually being made into a particular. So, depending on the functionality, also it can come down. Okay, then let us talk about reliability. So I am based on my understanding, based on my the data that I am going to collect. Based on this, I have to make a decision, or a doctor has to make a decision. I can give you a simple example. Okay, so let us talk about this glucose monitors. We have glucose monitors at home, right? So these glucose monitors are actually they are doing its job. Like I can monitor my glucose levels whenever I want and however I want, right? So when I'm taking a reading of my glucose level, how based on this, I'm going to, or my doctor is going to prescribe me some medicines which are important in modifying my health, right? In improving my health. So, how reliable should be my data, and how reliable these the level or the number that is being shown in the monitor is important. So that is also very a crucial step in designing a device, a wearable device. We just spoke about heart rates, right? So the variability in the heart rate is very important that we were talking about. So how effectively it captures the heart rate, that can be proportional to how can I increase or how can I increase the reliability of my diagnosis. Okay. So the other important thing is technological limitation. I can only do this much with a wearable device. For an example, if you can see your smartwatch, it can record your heart rate, but it cannot do it continuously. You cannot record your heart rate continuously based on with the existing wearable in the sense with the existing smartwatch that you are using. I don't know whether you have noticed it or you have not noticed it, but still, there are some smartwatches that gives you some parameters in the sense you can measure your emotions, you can measure the sleep quality, you can measure stress levels, all these things with your wearables. But how is it doing it? Is it doing it continuously? Is it doing it effectively? We do not know, right? So we get some data. How the data is actually sound. What kind of implementation can be taken from the data? We do not know. So there are technological limitations also, because of which that still we do not have a continuous monitoring system that is available with us in terms of wearables, right? Okay, going ahead. This all these things are fine. Like whatever we have spoken about till now, that is the limitations in security, battery life, everything is fine. What is the next thing is that is much more important, biodegradability. Okay, I have a watch, I can use it for 3 years. After that, what? Or I have some patch, I can use it every day. I can wear it every day. I can replace the patch every day so that I can do a continuous monitoring also. But then after that, what? So are we not interested in biodegradability? So this is also one more important concern of existing wearables. We are using so much of non-biodegradable substances such that it just piles up as a waste, electronic waste, medical waste, and so and so. The other part of the existing wearable is the comfort that we are looking out for. So if I'm wearing a patch on my chest, how long can I wear it? Will it be comfortable? I don't know if you had seen a continuous glucose monitoring system, meaning there is a system that you can attach with your arm, okay, forearm, and so not forearm, so your arms, okay. So these continuous monitoring systems can provide information about the glucose levels, the spikes, and other things. But how comfortable the person is wearing that particular device? So we are not looking at the comfort level that we are when we are designing or when we are researching about a particular wearable device. So that is also very important. So let us focus on these two, biodegradability and the comfort, and we will go a bit towards the next important technology that is called to be a smart textile. So we will be talking a bit about the smart textile, where we will understand what these smart textiles are doing and how these smart textiles can alter the way we think about smart wearable devices. So all this is introduction. Whatever we talked about till now is just an introduction that we are when we are moving towards smart textiles, we can see the current trend, current technology, and other things, how it can help. Okay. So what is this smart textile? A smart textile is something that can be worn, it can sense, and it can react to a control mechanism. Meaning, I have a material, a fabric. Imagine the fabric can give you your heart rate, right? So it's very important, very nice, right? So I'm wearing a device, a shirt, and the shirt can give me, and the shirt can record all kinds of parameters. So that is a technology, that is a level that we are talking about right now. So these textile can adapt to the environmental condition. It can adapt to a stimuli, or it can respond to a stimuli. So there are many different kinds of smart textiles which can do these particular jobs. Okay, so what kind of stimuli we are talking about? It can be any stimuli from electrical in nature, it can be mechanical in nature, thermal, chemical. So depending on the material, depending on the fabric that we are using, it can respond to different kinds of stimuli. Okay, so when wearable technology meets with a smart textile, we get something called as smart apparel or e-textile, which combines different technologies wherein you can start from electrical engineering, wearable electronics. We can understand textiles, that is smart textile, and we can also integrate the wearable computer. So if we integrate all these things, we get something called to be as e-textile, or we also call it to be as electronic textile. It can sense the stimuli, it can sense the environmental condition, and it can sometimes it can react to the environmental condition. Okay, based on this things, we will go into the types. What are the types of smart textiles that are available? So you can see that there are actually, we can broadly divide it into three things. That is passive smart textile, active smart textile, and ultra smart textile. So what is this passive smart textile? Passive smart textile, in the sense, it can only sense the environment. Okay, it can, they are called to be as sensors. It can sense what kind of changes are present in the environment. Okay, so this is the passive smart textile. The active smart textile can sense what is happening in the environment and can react to the stimuli. Okay. A simple example for that is color changing fabric. I don't know whether you have seen this. Recently, we had, okay, simple. One more example. We can talk about this mugs, color changing mugs. Heat, based on heat, it can sense the heat and it can react to that condition, right? So if I am pouring a hot water or hot liquid into that mug, it changes color. So that is kind of something called to be as a sensing and reaction, right? So similar thing is also available in textile. We call it to be as color changing fabrics. Okay, so based on the heat that is present in the environment or based on the temperature, the it can sense the amount of temperature that is present and it can react to that particular temperature. Okay, so this is more important, and this is also one of the area that people are working on. So active smart textiles. The other one is it is called to be as ultra smart textile. Ultra smart in the sense it can sense, it can react, and it can also adapt themselves to that environment. So it has a particular reasoning power. It has a thinking capability. The fabric itself has a thinking capability. Okay, so these are the different types of textile materials, and based on these textile materials, what are the sensors that are being developed? So you can see there are many kind of sensors that are integrated along with the textile fabrics that we were talking about. So these are some examples that I have given. One is you can see these are the electrodes that are there, and the electrodes are placed on the wheelchairs, and it can monitor the heart rate. These electrodes can pick up the heart rate continuously or ECG signal continuously, and it can be used to find the heart rate of the person. Okay, so this is called to be as the this is one of the smart textile that we are moving towards, wherein it is non-invasive and it can also capture the information that is required. The second one is a smart jacket based on. So you can see how a smart jacket is being designed, and these are the electrodes. You can see the patches that are there. I hope my mouse monitor is visible. Okay, so these are the patches that are called as electrodes, and you can see the AFE, that is the analog front end, that can be used to capture the signal, and it can be used to transmit the signal. So this is quite old technology, old technique. So it was developed by NC State University. Okay, so now, and you can see the ECG signal recorded using this smart shirt. So you can see a very nice waveform that is being recorded. And based on this, let us innovate, let us go into research. So what we are doing right now is, okay, why do we want to wear it as a shirt? Why can't I wear it as so already we are wearing different accessories, different, different kind of apparels. So why can't we integrate the mechanism or the fabric with the same apparel that we are wearing? So what we tried to do is do something called to be as embroidery techniques. Okay, so we tried some kind of embroidery to be placed along with the shirts that we are wearing, and we can use them for monitoring. We can use those modified embroidered fabric to monitor the ECG level. Okay, so now what we had taken is a cotton fabric. We had done some kind of stitches. So this is called to be as a lock stitch. And we used a conductive material so that we know that our heart electrical potentials are available on the surface level. So we need to capture that and we need to conduct. So we need a conductive material that can do this job. So we had used a silver thread, and we had done this kind of technique to capture the levels of the potentials of the heart. And this is given to a signal processing unit, and we have a customized signal processing unit that is dedicated towards picking up the potentials from the fabric, and we can use some kind of viewing mechanism. So right now we are using laptop to view it. You can see. So based on this, we had done different kinds of analysis. So how the temperature is playing an important role in the measurement, because we are living in a area where there are much variations towards temperature, right? How sweat is playing an important role. That is also one more thing. So humidity, how is it playing an important role? So all these things are monitored, all these things are measured. So we have done some experiments based on that and how it is actually varying the resistance of the fabric. So because resistance is one important thing that we are interested in whenever we are designing a fabric, right? So why resistance is important? Because it has to, the potentials that are available in the surface has to be transmitted to the fabric. So when the fabric is having a similar impedance when compared to our skin, then only we will be able to transfer the potentials, right? So we are interested in this resistance, and we are interested in a fabric that has the least resistance. So this least resistance is being offered by different, different looping conditions, and also different temperatures also. Depending on the temperature, my resistance also varies. Depending on humidity, my resistance varies. Similarly, depending on the number of loops that are there in that embroidery, so depending on that also, my resistance varies. So we can see that we need to find an optimal number of loops, optimal temperature, optimal humidity at which range at which this particular technique will work. Okay, so giving all these optimizations, I'm just going. I'm just showing a small setup wherein we are able to record the signals from these kind of textile electrodes, these embroidery textile electrodes, along with we are also using the gel electrodes, and see how the comparison between the textile electrode and the gel electrode is. So this is the comparison. You can see almost we are getting nearly same. We are having the characteristic waveform, that is PQRST wave, and how it is actually similar in nature. Okay. Now, so this we have also tested on different things. That is, we also used some kind of activity. So whenever I'm doing some activity, because it's a wearable device, it has to be converted into a wearable device, right? So when I'm doing some activity, how it is recording the signal, how efficiently it is recording my signal. So we tested with different positions. So we doing a sitting position, a standing position, a squatting position, and we were recording this waveform. So you can see the waveform, the similarity between the textile electrode and the commercial electrode that is available. You can see how similar it is. It is almost, so whatever the commercial electrode is performing, we are able to achieve similar things with the help of textile electrodes also, right? So you can see different kinds of variations in the this is a similarity index that have been plotted. So in sitting, standing, and squatting, though the similarity is actually having a range, you can see visually seeing, you can see that there are a good matching similarity levels between the textile electrodes and the commercial electrodes. Okay, going forward, I have electrodes. I have let us consider I have a shirt that has been embroidered with these electrodes, and I am wearing it to record the ECG signal. What next? I have got my ECG signal. I need to understand, or I need to have an inference from these signals that are available to me. So what kind of inferences can we draw from this signal? That is the next important thing. And how to draw inferences from these signals? So we need a algorithm, we need an intelligence there that can keep looking at the continuously recorded signal, and it can provide me with some metrics that can be used for diagnosis, right? So for this purpose only, we do something called as an AI-based integration in wearable technology. So how can we, so AI is available right now, AI is the market, right? Everywhere, whatever you talk about, AI is there. But how can we integrate the artificial intelligence into wearable technology? There are many limitations to it. We will talk about those things. But preliminarily, we will talk about how to do this. The very basic thing that we can do is transfer the whatever we have recorded as ECG signals, transfer it to the cloud. Deploy a AI system in the cloud, and let it continuously be monitoring the ECG signals that are incoming. Okay, this is one way to do it. The second way is I can always have a dedicated system that is doing this job, right? I can have a system in place. I can make it along with my mobile or with some handheld device that can continuously keep monitoring this heart rate. So whenever we talk about AI, the integration is essential, but it is also crucial in nature. Okay. And if you talk global AI market, so how the global AI market is, we see that there is a steady increase. And if we talk about a projected increase in 2027, we can see that it is a $1 billion market, right? It's about 52 billion is the estimated range, wherein there is a steady increase as well as a high need for this AI based wearable market. I'm not just talking about AI, I'm talking about AI integrated wearables. Okay. So, why do we need this? As I told you, we have user experience, we have accuracy in understanding the signals that are being recorded. I need a real-time monitoring. A doctor cannot sit in front of a system continuously monitoring your ECG signal. Not possible. And I also need and this if you see the overall objective of this kind of wearable technology, the ultimate aim is to improve the life quality. Okay, till whatever a person is living, till wherever the person is living, I want he or she wants to have a good life. Okay, so improve the life quality of that particular person and also increase the life expectancy. Okay, so these are the ultimate aims to which by which we are going towards the integrated AI integrated wearable systems or wearable technology. And so how can we do it? This is a very understood slide. I am just going to talk an overview of it. So when we can do it in two types, we can do it through a machine learning based approach or through a deep learning based approach. So in a machine learning based approach, we can start with the ECG signals. We can extract some features that are predefined, pre-understood, and which have been researched upon. And you can use a classifier to predict whether it is to classify whether it's a normal signal or there is some abnormality present in the waveform. Or in the alternate way, you can use a deep learning technology and you can extract, so which can act as a feature extraction and classification module as such, and it can give you the outcome. Okay, going towards an application. So what we have done here, so we have developed a model. So that model is actually trained upon 12 lead signals. Okay, we have we have recorded signals, and right now we need to develop a model that can understand what the recorded signals are, right? So we need a model in place. So for that, what we tried to do is we had taken 12 leads, all the 12 leads as a clinical ECG, okay, and we had trained these signals for multiple purposes. The one thing that I'm showing you right now is a myocardial infarction that is being trained on. We have multiple models that are being used for multiple purposes, but right now I'm showing you one model, which just as an example. So we use a deep learning model that can be connected to these, that can take an input to these the 12 lead signals, and it can predict whether the person is, or the ECG signal that is being given as an input is a normal signal or an MI. And how efficiently it can predict, how quickly it can predict, that is also in place. So right now the algorithm works within seconds. Okay, so I'm not going into detail about computational complexity right now, but a trained model, the training is a problem, but the trained model works in a very low computation. I mean, it requires a very low computational cost. Okay, and this prediction. So first of all, when we are training it, we are looking at whether how the model is actually predicting whether it is normal or it is having there is some kind of infraction that is present in that particular waveform. So we see something called to be as an explainability. This is where that we talked about reliability of a model, right? Reliability of the particular device. So this explainability shows the reliability of the model. Okay. So what kind of explainability are we talking about? We are interested in understanding how the model is predicting the disease condition. Is it looking at is it agreeing with the literature, or is it agreeing with what the doctors are actually looking at? So if we can see that the trained model, whatever we have done, is actually predicting the MI based on looking at what the SNT, between the SNT segment, there is a isotropic line. You can see this is the SNT segment, this is S wave, and this is T wave. This is the isotropic line there. Okay. So in MI, what happens is this isotropic line and the R wave. Okay. So the R wave and the isotropic line will be modified. So you can see very clearly that our deep learning model is looking at these conditions accurately, which is actually agreeable with the doctor also, because they also look at the same thing. So they look at the ST segment, they look at the elevation that is present in the ST segment, and that is where that is how it is diagnosed with myocardial infarction. Okay, so the model is doing pretty well. So this is where how reliability of the model can also be improved by understanding how the model is performing, where the model is looking at, another thing. Okay, going ahead. So I did not go into detail about deep learning and other stuff, because I wanted to talk about more about how integration of multiple things can be done with wearables. Okay, so when we go ahead with the wearable technology, after integration of, okay, I have integrated AI systems, it is going to give me a diagnosis. Now, what this diagnosis is going to help, how this diagnosis is going to help that particular patient. When you talk about diagnosis perspective, if so, why we are monitoring all these things, it's not just for our satisfaction, but if there is a condition, a quick response is to be given. I need a quick response to that particular condition that can be um, given to the patient, right? So when I want a quick response, I need to transmit the information. If there is any abnormality that is present, I need to transmit the information to a caregiver or to a doctor. So connecting the wearable devices. So one more thing is, I need not have only one device. I can have multiple devices with me. So you can measure your heart rate, you can measure glucose levels, you can have BB monitors, instantaneous BB monitors, you can have wearable BB monitors. So there are many things that can be integrated along with that can be used as a wearable in a day-to-day life. And I need to understand how to extract, or how to give a correct information to the caregiver, and how to extract the correct diagnosis from the caregiver also. So that is what is being done in IoT based systems. So wherein we we were talking about telehealth, right? We're talking about network layer, where it is being transmitted to the other place, or some other place, or some other system. So that is what we are looking at right now. So how to integrate the different sensors, multiple sensors into a wireless platform. So these networks we have a name for these networks, which is called to be a SPAM, or body area networks, BAN. Okay, so body area networks are something that have multiple sensors placed on the body, and all these sensors are integrated and they are connected to a wireless system, and continuous data is being transmitted through the wireless system to a server. Okay, so now this is important. Where this is important means whenever there is a critical patient who needs to be monitored continuously. So, and these patients are not able to travel or travel to any place. There it becomes very, very critical to monitor them continuously from the home setup. So, and we also know COVID. When COVID came, we had this kind of scenario also, where we were not able to reach a hospital, but we need to have some kind of diagnosis or some kind of critical measures, right? So in these places, we use these wearable IoT based wearable technologies. We can use them right now. It is in market. So we can integrate. So if you can see, there are many FDA approved wearable devices, wearable IoT devices that are there in the market. We can have telehealth based systems. We can have watches that can monitor the packages. Okay, and also we have diabetic insoles. These are insoles that are actually placed onto your foot. Okay, so along with your shoes, you can place it onto your shoes, and it can monitor the pressure level. So this can be used for from diabetic pressure ulcers being created. Okay. So also we have ambulance monitors, we have epileptic seizure monitoring systems, seizure identifying systems that are available in market. So these are all because see, and this is very important because epileptic seizures are one of the important things that are, so a person who is actually prone to epilepsy, okay, we don't know when he is going to get a seizure. So these devices help in identifying or predicting that seizure I don't know how reliable it is, but they are there in the market and people are using them. Okay. Okay, going on to the market survey again, the IoT-based devices are actually having a very high growth, and people are still doing research, and people are improving the devices so that we can use them for the monitoring and diagnosis purpose. And most of it is being used in a neurological sector, wherein to identify seizures and to identify to continuously monitor the brain conditions and other things, we generally use these IoT-based wearable devices. And also we do some kind of, we use it in telemedicine, like teleconsultations and other things. So what are the major advantages? Obviously, it is much better than the simple wearable device, right? Whatever we are using. So it has a better access to the caregiver, and we have cost effective. It is obviously much better than going to the doctor and getting the diagnosis. You can do it from home. We have convenience, we have continuous monitoring, and we have an improved, based on the market survey that we have seen. It has obviously increased the life quality of a person. Okay, so we have also used these kind of IoT integrated devices. We are doing a research on this and we are developing protocols. But a simple IoT device I can show you. So this is an app-based device. Okay, so whatever we are recording through the system, I mean through the electrodes right now, what we are talking about, a wearable electrode, we have a dedicated signal conditioning unit that is being used for recording the ECG signals, and it can transmit the recorded ECG signal to the mobile phones. Okay, so it is a dedicated system that can be used, and these data can be uploaded continuously onto the onto the cloud. Okay, through the network. So mobile phone is just an intermediate setup, but you can continuously connect it to the cloud, and it can actually record the data continuously, and we can get information about the data about the person as a continuous monitor, and we can use these data to predict whether the person is having any abnormality in him. Okay, so this is the setup that we have done, and you can see this is a small setup. I am just showing you an initial preliminary app. So there is a modification, that there are much modifications that we are doing here, but this is a preliminary app that we have developed. So this can monitor the ECG levels continuously by just connecting to the, you can view your heart rate, instantaneous heart rate continuously, you can see here. So these kind of setups are being done in wearable IoT devices. Okay, till now we were talking about ECG, how ECG is being used as a wearable device, for how ECG can be monitored using a wearable device, and how we can make a comfortable wearable device for the user that can be used to monitor the signals continuously, to record and monitor the signals continuously for a predictive diagnosis, right? Now, let us slightly shift. What other kind of wearable devices are there? So, one other important or very interesting feature or research that we have carried out is mind awareness. So, from where did we get this idea? When we were looking at the concentration perspective, okay, so there are no terminologies or no indexes that are available till now on how effective or how a person is concentrating on a particular task. So you can see whenever we concentrate on one thing, we have multiple things going on in our mind which are actually continuously being done. So until now, there are right now we are much more interested in identifying whether a person is concentrating or not, right? So there are no wearable devices as such that is available right now to understand this kind of concentration perspective, or how aware the person is. So all these things are not available, and you cannot do it with a wired system, because a person cannot be in something continuously, and the ultimate aim of doing this is, I want to continuously monitor the person, whether how active is that person. Okay, so we have something called to be as EDA or electrodermal activity signals. Okay, so that can be used for identifying the awareness of a particular person. So how aware is he? What kind of awareness is he exhibiting? So for that, we can use wearable technology. You can see this is a wearable EDA monitor that we can use. And what we had done is we had taken a particular. This is an initial study, but we are doing it as a wearable device, and we are monitoring it in house. So, but right now, whatever study I'm showing you is a very preliminary study that we have done. Um, you can imagine this to be as an algorithm being developed. So what we had done is we had collected these signals, EDA signals, and we had done some preprocessing on those signals, kind of noise removal that are available, that are present in this EDA signal, and we had done some kind of we had done a feature extraction based on EMD, empirical mode decomposition, and we had tried to test these features for continuous monitoring. Okay, so meaning I am going to give the signal, and I want to know whether the person is actually active or not, or his mind is active or not, right? So this can open up different areas of research. It can open up different arenas of problems, because if I am able to do the same thing without EEG, because EEG is being the gold standard, if I am able to do the um, understanding of my of a person's awareness without EEG, then I don't require that entire cap to be placed on my head and continuously record EEG signals. I can use it with my watch itself, because my watch is capable of recording this EDA signals. Okay, so it can be done in a very simpler way and very effective way. So that is the base for this research, and we have done some kind of analysis on this. So you can see this is a mind wandering signal, EDA signal, and this is a no mind wandering signal. So this is actually he is not having any mind wandering. Okay, so he is mind aware. Okay, simple. But and we have decomposed it into multiple features. So these are all IMFs, intrinsic mode functions based on your empirical mode decomposition, and we had seen that the randomness present in those IMFs are being recorded using some kind of entropy measures. So these are the entropy measures that we had considered: approximate entropy, sample entropy, and SVD based entropy. And a particular frequency is actually very important. So you can see that entropy, the IMF2 that we are considering, is giving us significant results. So IMF2 is actually related to a particular frequency level, and this frequency is being important in understanding the mind awareness. So these can be translated into algorithms, and it can be put into a small chip based device. Okay, so you can actually make the device into a small, a handy device, a wearable device that can actually continuously capture the EDA signal, and it can understand whether a person is concentrating or not, whether a person is active or not. So these things can be done very easily using EDA. So that is the purpose of this research. This is slightly apart from what I was talking about from the beginning, from textile-based monitors. But still, this is also a wearable device that we are working on, and we are um, using it. And the other important thing that I just want to mention here, this is the last part. I'm sorry if I'm taking too much of time, but you can see the next important thing that we are interested in is cognition. How cognition is playing an important role, and how cognitive impairment is actually important in today's life. Okay, what is cognition? Cognition is nothing but it's a brain activity. How I'm, how aware I am, how perceptually active I am, how I'm able to think, reason. All these things comes under the topic called to be as cognition. Then what is cognitive impairment? It involves memory problems, what kind of deficits that are there in the thinking process. All these things are cognitive impairment, comes under cognitive impairment. And if you can think about cognitive impairment, about 13% of the global disease burden, okay, comes under just cognitive impairment, meaning 13% of the people globally are suffering from these impairments. There are many reasons for these impairments. The majority of them comes under something called as neurodegenerative disorders, wherein the person is having some kind of degeneration happening in the brain cells. So once the brain cells are dead, it's dead. That's it. You cannot revive a brain cell. You cannot alter a brain cell. So that is not possible. So if I can identify these cognitive impairment in an earlier stage, will it be useful? Yes. But right now, whatever we are doing is taking an MRI, using an MRI to identify which condition the person is. If he is there in the mild stage, mild cognitive impairment stage, then we will be able to stop the progression, or else it is very difficult, right? So what is our focus right now? MRI. But why don't we slightly shift the focus and see what kind of other methodologies can be followed to identify this Alzheimer's disease? So when we went ahead with this Alzheimer's disease, we were thinking about some continuous monitoring. If I can have some continuous monitoring system, I will be able to understand whether the person is having a some kind of differences in the in his day-to-day lifestyle, right? I need some continuous monitoring system. But what kind of continuous monitoring system can help me out in understanding the impairment? When the recent researchers, if you can see, the earlier stage of the Alzheimer's disease or any neurodegenerative disorder starts with uh, emotions and emotions-based recognitions. Okay, so if you can see, the behavior of a person changes. The person experiences poor judgment, so he cannot judge or he cannot make a decision quickly. He cannot speak in a clear way. Okay, because the thinking process is actually slowed down, and there are difficulties that the person will experience in day-to-day life tasks. Okay, so all these things, if you can focus on to understand the person's perspective in whether he's going to have whether he's going or moving towards an impairment or not, then it will be helpful for the society also. So that is what we are thinking about, and we use something called as speech signals. So what are these speech signals? So what we did is we have a recording. So we try to record a patient with Alzheimer's disease, and we try to have a control signal, a normal person doing the same task. Okay, I have to, in the sense like there are different tasks that are actually kind of protocols that are being developed, and these tasks can help in understanding how the person is actually perceptually thinking. Okay, so that is how we generally take a normalized score, kind of MMSE and other things are normalized score that we use for identifying these disease conditions. So these protocols can be taken, these protocols were taken, and we had taken a sample from a controlled a patient and a dementic patient, and we can see, we were trying to identify what kind of variations are there in that person. So this is a feature extraction and an algorithm perspective I'm talking about. So this is an algorithm that we had tried to develop. So this is based on time frequency analysis or spectrogram based. I know I'm talking about different things right now, but still these why I'm giving you these ideas are like you can use all these things as a continuous monitoring device, as a wearable, and we can help the society in understanding whether a person in reducing this particular impairment from progressing further. Okay, so spectrogram based analysis we had carried out, and we had used substrate features. So there are different kinds of substrate features that are that we had extracted. So it starts from log mile to MFCCs to GFCC and BFCC. So there are different spectral features that we have estimated, and we see that these extracted features are actually having a variation in the in the representation between control and the dementic case. Okay, so these kind of algorithms can help in designing. So and also we used these extracted features to test the algorithm. So we can see that it is approximately performing. We are having an accuracy of about 77% in separating between the normal and the dementic condition. But still research is going on in this product as such. But we can see that there are many different kinds of wearables that are coming out in the market, and we are much more interested towards the wearables that can increase the life quality and increase the life expectancy. Right. So these are some of the experts from our research that we are doing in our lab, and what we have identified and how we are compiling it and how we are going forward. I hope this will be useful for you, and these are the other activities or other research areas that we are looking out in. So we work on image processing, we work on pattern recognition, data analytics, we work on electrotechnology, which we were talking about today. So I have given about these textile electrodes and the electrode design and other things. So, and also we work a bit on image guided interventions. So these are the different verticals that we are working on. And if you are interested in collaborating with us, you are more than welcome. And if you have any, we do have an internship opening for this particular project. But this is a internship that is based on like for about 6 months time period. Okay, so if any of your students are interested in, you can always send them. And also we are looking for PhD scholars. So if anybody is interested in, please contact me. So that's it. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. If you have any questions, please you can ask.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rohini P, for your insightful session on wearable devices for healthcare technological advances. Your presentation was both informative and thought-provoking, offering us a comprehensive overview of how wearable technologies are modernizing healthcare. Participants, any queries?
Hello, Dr. Rohini.
Yeah.
Dr. Remya here from Adishankara.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for this very informative and a very useful session. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for accommodating few of our final year graduates for internship in your organization. And
Thank
it was
you.
very useful for them. And thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank
And
you very much.
coming to this topic regarding the fabric that you have used for the wearable ECG monitoring.
Yeah.
Is it a normal fabric, or how is the fabrication process of the
Okay, so the
t-shirt?
fabrication process is okay. Right now, whatever we are using is a conductive material. Okay, so there are multiple fabrication process that we are looking at. Right now, whatever we have used is this is a silver fabric. So I will just show you. It's a silver fabric that we have used. It's a patented technology. You can actually do this through sputtering technique. Okay, so I also we can also have a sputtering based mechanism wherein we can deposit the silver. You can deposit the silver onto the cotton fabric, and that can act as a conductive material. But right now we have used a yarn based medium. So this yarns can be used as a I can talk about like weaving technology. So you can weave the yarn between the cotton fabric that can be used that can do the purpose of conducting the hard potential into the electrode. So this is a yarn-based mechanism, and we can use multiple techniques. But right now we have used sputtering for this.
Okay, regarding the issue of solving conductivity, skin contact impedance correction, how do you accommodate that?
Okay, so skin impedance. So that is actually a very big challenge in even today. Researchers are facing. So you can see thousands of papers just talking about skin impedance, contact impedance, and there is one more thing called as input impedance of the amplifier. So these three. So these three should match. If they don't match, then we will not be able to acquire the signal, transmit them to the signal acquisition unit. Okay, so when we are talking about contact impedance, right now, how are we matching the skin impedance and the input impedances using this contact impedance? Okay, so how are we reducing this contact impedance? By using some gels. So we have commercial electrodes. By using gels, we are actually reducing this contact impedance. But what we are using, I mean, in the textile-based approach, we do not have gels. That is how we are actually moving towards dry electrodes. We do not have gels. So air is a medium. Air is actually having a very high impedance when compared to the liquid phase, right? So right now, the textiles that are actually having these silver and other things, these particles, they try to match the skin impedance to the input impedance. Thereby, what it is actually facilitating is it is trying to reduce the impedance between the skin and the amplifier stage. So that is how we are actually trying to reduce the input impedance and reduce the contact impedance, thereby effectively transporting the potential from the skin to the amplifier stage. So one thing that we can concentrate on is how we are designing the material. So what kind of material? So right now I'm just talking about silver, but there are n number of materials that are available. So it is all material perspective, how we are playing with the materials and how we are understanding the characteristics of the material to make a bridge between the skin and the amplifier stage. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And all these works are all associated with some hospitals. How do we do the clinical validation part?
Yeah, we do associate with the hospital because
Okay.
so normal conditions we can take care of, but when we are looking at the disease conditions, we do associate with hospitals to do the other things. Yeah.
Okay. So that myocardial infarction part, you had a
Yeah,
patient.
Yes.
Okay. Great works. Great.
I have a small clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, excellent lecture, madam. It's a wonderful lecture. And just I wanted to know, apart from your theoretical work, are you able to convert some of your ideas into prototypes and products?
Yes, we have. Actually, this is a patented project. This current, whatever I'm showing you, it's a patented work. It's a technology that we are actually trying to commercialize it. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. Ultimately, whatever brilliant ideas are there, they should be converted into products and processes.
Right. Yeah.
Great
We are
work.
doing that, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
So, any other questions?
Once again, thank you, ma'am, for your valuable time and contribution to our faculty development program. We truly appreciate your support and look forward to continued collaboration with you in the future as well. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, participants.